"We're here," said Isabel, as the truck turned into a camp and slowed to a crawl. Esperanza stood up and looked over the cab. They were in a large clearing surrounded by grape fields. Row upon row of white wooden cabins formed long lines, connected like bunkhouses. Each cabin had one small window and two wooden steps that led to the door. She couldn't help but think that they weren't even as nice as the servants' cabins in Aguascalientes. They reminded Esperanza more of the horse stalls on the ranch than a place for people to live. A big mountain loomed in the east, framing one side of the valley. Marta jumped out and ran toward some girls standing together near the cabins. Esperanza could hear them talking in English, the words hard and clipped as they were speaking with sticks in their mouths. They all looked at her and laughed. She turned away, thinking that if Isabel could learn English, then maybe someday she could learn it too. A line of flatbed trucks pulled into a clearing, and campesinos hopped down. Home from the fields, people called to one another. Children ran to their fathers, yelling, "Puppy! Puppy!" Esperanza felt a deep pang. She watched and wondered how she would fit into this world. Isabel pointed to a wooden building off of the side. "That's where they have all the toilets." Esperanza cringed as she tried to imagine having no privacy. "We're lucky," said Isabel solemnly. "In some camps we had to go in ditches." Esperanza looked down at her, swallowed and nodded, suddenly thankful for something. A foreman came over and shook hands with Juan and Alfonso and pointed to the cabin in front of the truck. The women got out, took the babies, and helped Miguel with the bags. Mama and Esperanza walked into the cabin. It had two small rooms. One half of the front room was the kitchen with a stove, sink, and counter, and table and chairs. A pile of wood waited near the stove. Across the room was a mattress on the floor. The back room had another mattress, big enough for two people, and a tiny cot. In between sat a wooden fruit crate to be used as a nightstand, its sides touching each bed. Above was another small window. Mama looked around and then gave Esperanza a weak smile. "Is this our cabin, or Hortensia and Alfonso's?" asked Esperanza, hoping that hers and Mama's might be better. "We are all in this cabin together," said Mama. "Mama, we can't possibly all fit." "Esperanza, they will only give one cabin for each man with a family. There is no housing for single women. This is a family camp, so we must have a male head of household to live and work here. And that is Alfonso." Mama sank to the bed. Her voice sounded tired. "He has told them we are his cousins, and if anyone asks, we must say it's true, otherwise we cannot stay. We are next door to Juan and Josefina, so we can adjust the sleeping arrangements. Miguel will sleep next door with them and the babies, and Isabel will sleep here with Alfonso, Hortensia, and us." Miguel came in and set down their suitcases, then left. Esperanza could hear Alfonso and Hortensia in the next room talking about the camp office. Mama got up to unpack and began to sing. Esperanza felt anger crawling up her throat. "Mama, We are living like horses. How can you sing? How can you be happy? We don't even have a room to call our own." The talking suddenly stopped in the other room. Mamma gave Esperanza a long, hard look. She calmly walked over and shut the door to the small room. "Sit down," she said. Esperanza sat on the tiny cot, its springs screeching. Mamma sat on the bed opposite of her, their knees almost touching. "Esperanza, if we stayed in Mexico and I had to married Tio Luis, we would have had one choice, to be apart and miserable. Here we have two choices, to be together and miserable, or be together and happy. Mija, we have each other, and Abuelita will come. How would she want you to behave? I choose to be happy. So which will you choose?" She knew what Mamma wanted to hear. "Happy," she said quietly. "Do you know how lucky we are, Esperanza? Many people come to this valley and wait months for a job. Juan went through a lot of trouble to make sure we had this cabin waiting for us when we got here. Please be grateful for the favors bestowed upon us." Mamma bent over and kissed her, then left the room. Esperanza lay down on the cot. A few minutes later Isabel came in and sat on her bed. "Will you tell me what it's like to be so very rich?" She looked at Isabel, her eyes anticipating some wonderful story. Esperanza was quiet for a moment, clinging to one possible thought. Then she said, "I am still rich, Isabel. We will only be here until Abuelita is well enough to travel. Then she will come with her money, and we will buy a big house, a house that Papa would have been proud for us to live in. Maybe we'll buy two houses so that Hortensia, Alfonso, and Miguel can live in one and work for us again. And you can visit, Isabel. You see, this is only temporary. We will not be here long." "De veras?" asked Isabel. "Yes, it is the truth," said Esperanza, staring at the ceiling that someone had covered with newspaper and cardboard. "My papa would have never wanted us to live in a place like this." She closed her eyes, heard Isabel tiptoe out of the room, and shut the door. The weariness from days of travel flooded over her, and her mind wandered from people peeing in ditches to Marta's rudeness to the horse stalls at El Rancho de las Rosas. How could she be happy or grateful when she had never been more miserable in her life?